Hey, welcome to another episode of Huddle Up with Mark, the Fun Coach. I am Mark Duncan. So let me ask this question. You know, I'm going to talk about fundraising. You know, I'm going to give you some advice and tips on how you can be better at this. But I have a question for you. How are you feeling when it comes to fundraising? Are you feeling stuck? I want you to be honest with yourself. Here's what I mean by that. Usually there are three reasons why nonprofit leaders are not engaging in relationship fundraising. I'm talking about getting in front of people that you know have the capacity, building relationships, making the case, making the ask, and closing the deal. So, one of three things is likely happening. Now, the first is that you believe, emphasis on believe, and I'm using air quotes, that you don't have time to engage in relationship fundraising. You just don't have the time as the executive director. We'll talk about that. The second is that you know how to raise money from wealthy donors, but you just won't take the step to do it because it doesn't feel right. You feel uncomfortable. You feel icky. I hear that word often when it comes to raising money from wealthy donors. And the third is that you know you need to do it, but you don't know how, and you won't invest the resources to be able to get the help that you need so that you can raise those dollars. So let's start with the first one, and that is time. Now, you've probably heard me say this if you've been watching my videos long enough. You've probably heard me say that as an executive director, you should be focusing on doing only the things that only you can do. That means that if you're the executive director and you're the one responsible for raising large gifts from wealthy donors and nobody else on the staff can do that or is able to do that, then that's what you need to be focused on. It's one of those things that only you can do. Now, if you are an executive director and I know these things happen, staff member is unable to do something, maybe they're out sick so you step in, right? And the minute you step in to fill that gap for that staff person, whether they're out sick or whatever it may be, the train stops. The work that you're doing as it relates to relationship fundraising, nobody else is doing it. Meanwhile, the train is moving over here, and that's great. It should be, but you need to be thinking about contingencies for when those instances arise, when you feel the need or have to step in, because it's the easiest thing to do, when in actuality, it is making your job harder because it's taking away from your time to focus on only the things that only you can do. So if you are, and I recognize that you may be watching this as an executive director of a small organization where you may be the only staff person, but you have a board, and your board needs to be aware, not that I'm suggesting that your board micromanages you in any way, shape, or form, but your board needs to be aware of the challenges that you're facing. And if you are a solo executive director, then you need to be keeping your board informed in terms of areas where they can help you until you're able to generate the resources you need to be able to hire somebody. Now, if you're a mid-sized organization that has staff and you're an executive director and you're stepping in and doing somebody else's job or helping with somebody or you know, doing something other than only the things that only you can do, take a close look at that. You will be surprised at how much time you can get back. So Pay attention to that. Make sure your time is protected. So if you have an administrative assistant, um, then make sure that that person knows that you cannot be bothered unless it's an emergency, so that you can focus on making those phone calls, getting out on those visits, which leads to building relationships, making the case, making the ask, and closing the deal. So that's number one, time. You take a close look at that. If the reason that you're not engaging in relationship fundraising is because you know what to do, but you just don't feel comfortable doing it because it feels icky. In fact, in many ways, this is actually the root of the problem. It is why you choose to jump in and do something that another staff member should be doing. It is why you take that phone call when you know you should be walking out the door to go visit that donor. You see, deep down, innately, we have an issue, and it comes from our relationship with money. We have an issue with asking people for money. Much of it has to do with how we were raised, has to do with our money story. So you should be thinking about what was the first money memory that you had and how did it make you feel? And is that what's shaping your belief about your ability to be able to raise these dollars? So you may know what to do. You may have learned what to do from watching these videos, or you may be somebody who has worked with me as a coach, and you may be stuck because you just deep down don't feel good, or you feel uncomfortable, or you just don't know how to get back into it. And that's keeping you from raising lots of dollars for your organization. And the third is, you know, you need help, but you won't invest. I won't say spend, because is an investment. You won't invest the dollars to get the help that you need, whether it's from me or anyone else, to learn this very, very important skill that could exponentially grow your organization's philanthropic revenue. But you look at the cost of it and you think, can't afford to do that right now. When the outcome of what you invest, and the time that you invest, and the money that you invest, will empower you with the skill and confidence to be able to secure big gifts year after year after year after year, and you will more than 10 times, 12 times, 20 times recoup what you invested to learn how to do this. But I want you to think about the question I asked at the top of this. Are you stuck? What excuses, what stories are you telling yourself? What are the limiting beliefs that you are holding on to that are keeping you from advancing in this space? Because I'm going to tell you something. This isn't about you raising a ton of money for your organization. That's not what this is about. It's about what those dollars do. You hear me say it all the time. And so when you are wondering or figuring out or saying to yourself, well, I don't have time, does that mean you don't have time to help the people that you serve? Because raising those dollars is what it will do. It's going to help the people that you serve in a significant way. Or you're hesitant because you know what to do, but you just don't feel comfortable doing it. You have to ask yourself, is it worth allowing those limiting beliefs around your ability to be able to get in front of someone and ultimately ask them for a gift? Is it worth not being able to support your organization and support the people that you serve? And finally, if you're thinking, well, yeah, I really want to learn how to do this so I could be more effective in raising these dollars. And so I know I need to invest in some coaching or working with a consultant or whatever that may be. Aren't the people that you serve worth the investment? Question you've got to grapple with yourself. What I also see in the context of all three of those reasons why nonprofit leaders aren't engaging in relationship fundraising is because, well, I'm doing fundraising, right? You're doing what I call sort of the three G's, either, grants, galas, golf tournaments. That's a sort of a generic uh, umbrella that I use to describe the easy things that you focus on, when in all actuality, it's not the easy way, it's the hard way. You know this. And I'm not suggesting that you don't do those things, that you don't engage in trying to secure grants, or doing a gala, or doing a golf tournament, or doing raffles, or online fundraising. Those things need to be a part of a robust, comprehensive fundraising plan. But if you omit relationship fundraising, you are leaving money on the table. And so, what may feel like, and I'm going to use a basketball analogy here, what may feel like you taking the easy way out, in actuality, is the equivalent of you taking a shot from half court versus a layup. Galas, golf tournaments, raffles, or applying for a grant where you're competing with 100 to 150 other organizations, that's a half court shot. You could be taking layups by building relationships with people that you know. You just need to find out who they are amongst the folks that give to you already, that have capacity. And now you connect with them. You already have a relationship with them because they're connected to your organization. Now you need to get a personal relationship with them. They already trust you. They already trust your organization. They have capacity. Now you just got to take the layup, because that person could give you 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, $100,000 every year if you reframe your focus, readjust your limiting beliefs, and maximize your time so that you can focus on the very thing that will generate what could be unlimited resources for your organization. So I hope this is helpful to you. Be very curious to hear any feedback that you have. As always, this fundraising thing that I love so much, and love to talk about so much, and love to see organizations succeed, because I know that the work that you're doing will pay off for the people that you serve. That's what it's about. It's not about the dollars. It's about what the dollars do for the very people that you serve. Thanks. We'll see you next time.